The QPE Framework. In our previous episode, we covered quality. And today, I'll be focusing purely on the E in the QPE, and that's exit strategy. Same thing for exit strategy, I will split it into 4 different points that we will be focusing on. But before I start, I want to set the record straight that my analysis is based from an investment point of view. It doesn't take into account the fundamental needs for an own use perspective. When there's that element involved, investment value might take a back seat. Meaning if you're buying for self-occupation, then the approach can be very, very different. So I'll clear that up first. Anyway, back to it. Point number 1. Very important first point. Supply demand in an area. When you buy into a neighborhood, it is also extremely important to look into the area to see if there's an overhanging supply issue or not. One place that I always talk about to be very careful is the Flora Drive vicinity. A quick look at it shows close to 15 developments in total. To think those landlord haters look at 5 developments and want to cry. Flora Drive have 3 times of that and with no MRT or amenities to support the neighborhood. The developments at Flora Drive are usually mid-sized condo in the range of 200 to 300 units. When you multiply it by close to 15, there's a total of 4,000 odd units or more. You want to know what's the second issue? Because the 15 developments are launched at different timings across the years, their price points are all over the place. And we have that many supply, it's going to be tough to stand out in the future when the buyers will probably take about 3 months to finish viewing all the developments before even start shortlisting units. When that happens, the competition becomes too great for a good push in price appreciation. So, back to Lentor, do you guys think it is facing an oversupply issue or not? Leave your comments, please. Now on to the second important point. Target audience. When you buy a property, are you able to clearly identify your next pool of buyers? Are they HDB upgraders, landed downgraders, condo upgraders, foreigners, or even typical investors? Now, if you don't ask yourself this question and envision who your future buyers are going to likely be, then you're in trouble. Like, CPT Properties' biggest problem is exit strategy and specifically target audiences. For most locals watching this, you don't believe, you ask your local friends, does anyone aspire to want to live in District 1? Want to buy something there for own use? There's probably always that 1 out of 10 who likes the idea of living in this financial district. But remember this one thing, if we plan to target the niche, you are just asking for it. When you strip the district of local demand, who are you really attracting? Foreigners? Foreigners no longer buys them unless they are getting their hands on trophy assets like South Beach Residences or Wallage. Otherwise, realistically, your target audience is only that of investors. And I can tell you guys, the last person you wish to deal with as a sellers are investors. Think about it. If an investor-driven market deals with investors, you know you will have plenty of sellers ready to sell at the right price to an investor who is going to lowball the shit out of your property. Otherwise, they will just move on to the next one who might just bite the bullet. When that happens, say goodbye to your investment potential, bro. Point which is less important but always good to have. Schools. Now, to put it into simple perspective, it is always important to have a top school within the 1 km radius. Why? Because it always ensures continuous demand in a property every single year without fail, be it for rental or for own use. Let's take Aitong as an example. For those tiger moms or dads living up the north or even in the Yio Chu Kang area, they wouldn't mind moving out their comfort zone to search for properties in that 1 km radius just for the sake of getting into a top school. You see how that creates a steady inflow of demand? Then again, if an area is not famous for schools in the first place, then having a top school or not wouldn't make much of a difference, right? Like the Punggol area, for example, as it's a relatively new estate, so there's no top schools in the area, hence, usually it doesn't really attract the kiasu parents like myself. I, for one, personally moved to the Bukit Timah area only because of school purposes. Do I like the area? No. give me a chance, I will be back at where I enjoy life the most, Yio Chu Kang and Seletar area. Speaking of Bukit Timah, yes, whether you are 1 km within a top school or not is extremely important. Why important? Because the Bukit Timah is popular for being a school zone. So when that comes into the picture, the presence of school will give you the selling advantage in time to come. It's a case of if it matters, it matters. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. And on to point number 4, which is the most overrated point that most seasoned investors will always bring up: transformation. Second CBD transformation, Paya Lebar transformation, high-speed rail. Why is it overrated? Firstly, it takes a long time for things to take shape. Secondly, developers and sellers are not stupid. They will put a premium to it when they know of an incoming transformation. So begs the most important question: does it mean you'll make more money when you are near a transformation? Well, the answer is no. Let's use Paya Lebar quarters as an example. Sales on the Paya Lebar transformation sits on top of the MRT and mall, right beside plenty of offices and hubs that popped up in recent years. Now, please look at their profits over the years. They do make money, but does it match up with the likes of Park Esta or even Tampines Treasure with no transformation? No. I'll tell you one thing. Selling transformation is just part of marketing gimmick. It allows you to make a safer bet for those who are not that savvy. It just means that it's so much easier to buy into. But remember what I always say, it's not about buying. Buying is easy. You see, you like, you buy. What is so difficult? Now, the difficult thing is when you sell and realizing that gains or loss is what matters the most. Being beside a second CBD, how does it increase demand for people willing to pay a premium in the future? Like if I'm buying one for own use and you know home buyers are the ones who are always paying a premium, why would the appearance of an office building want to make me live there more than ever? That only attracts investors who hopes that the new CBD will bring in more tenants and higher rentals, right? But you know, I know, we hate to deal with investors and prefer to deal with the local crowd consuming it for their own use. Yes, that is the 4 points of exit strategy for you. The first 2 points of understanding supply demand in an area you are buying and its target audiences are very, very important. School factor is always good to have, but might not be deal breakers depending on which area you're buying. And lastly, transformation is about the only most overrated factor to consider when it comes to Singapore real estate investment. Because Singapore is not like last time. Last time Singapore is growing tremendously. Now we are already a developed nation. So why are we talking about transformation? Don't get sucked into it just because the developers and agents pin you an extremely rosy pictures. Learn how to evaluate on your own with a set of critical thinking skills. Always be clear on your target audiences. Who is going to pay you that extra 5 to 600k in the future so that you can laugh all the way to the bank? If you cannot, then just don't buy lah. For those who have stayed so far, we are reaching the end of the multi-segments, and in our next video, I will expand more on the last important circle, and that is pricing. And until then, please buy safe.